And while we cannot guarantee that you will eliminate meltdowns completely, because meltdowns are a regular part of toddler life, even at home when you're getting ready for breakfast or just doing normal things throughout the day. But Disney World poses some additional opportunities for some really less than magical experiences unless you know how to navigate them in advance. So here are our tips. The first is to prioritize food and rest during your schedule. Going from rope drop till fireworks every day for an adult would be challenging at best, difficult or impossible at worst. But you think about doing that with a toddler and you have set yourself up for a recipe of disaster.
If you keep your child on a routine at home, you want to try to stick to that as close as possible in the parks. So for example, if your child eats breakfast at 9 a.m., lunch at 11 a.m., and dinner at 5 p.m., try your best to stick to those meal times. Same thing goes for nap time. If your toddler normally naps in the middle of the day, your trip to Disney World is not the time to skip that. They're already going to be overwhelmed and overstimulated. So try to take some time in the middle of the day, whether that's pushing your stroller in a quiet store on the property, going back to your car in the middle of the day, which is what we do. We let our children nap for about an hour. Then your child is going to be rested and ready to conquer the next thing on your list.
And we found that it's necessary to plan for some buffer time on either side of any of those activities, because if you're going to go get lunch at Disney World, then you're going to have to walk to whatever location that you've selected and then wait for the order to come out. And so for that entire time of transitioning from the last attraction that you did to going to lunch could be up to 30 or 45 minutes or maybe longer during some peak seasons. So you're going to want to make sure to build in some of that buffer time for the transition in your schedule. And the same thing for naps. Like we go back to our van, or you might be going back to a resort, then you're going to want to plan for the length of time it takes for you to leave the park, go to your vehicle, and whatever it is that you have to do for that. So be sure to plan that transition time as well.
The next tip we have in minimizing meltdowns at Disney is to bring lots and lots of snacks, the kinds of snacks that your child likes to eat. There's nothing worse than being stuck in a place and you're forced to buy a really expensive snack that you're not even sure they're gonna eat or not. But you are more than welcome to bring snacks into Disney World, and we do it. I pack a snack bag and I have all the things that I know my children are going to eat. So when we are stuck in lines or we're trying to move from one thing to the next, I always have something available for them to help minimize their meltdowns.
We've found that it's really worth it to buy the souvenir popcorn bucket.
Yes.
Because if we get that refilled for just kind of a minimal cost, what is it like?
It's $2.19.
Right, each time you get it refilled. Now the initial purchase of the bucket is a little more expensive than that, but
It's worth it.
you can refill it as many times for that same rate throughout the entire day, and it keeps your children entertained and
Satisfied
Yes.
until your next meal.
Our next tip is do not overschedule. This is probably an issue that I face the most because I just have a natural tendency within my personality to want to do not just like all the things, but like every single thing there is to do right now.
In one day.
Yeah, and so having children has changed that for us, because when we were a young couple without kids, then we could go to the parks and we could easily just get in and out of the lines and go and do all the attractions and all of that. But toddlers have to move at a different pace. And so we found that trying to drag them from one place to another as quickly as possible was absolutely the recipe for meltdowns.
Yeah.
Someone told me at one point, a hurried child is a worried child.
It's true.
And we have absolutely seen that that is the case. So we found that it's best to just move at your toddler's pace throughout the day and expect that you're probably not going to be able to do the entire park in a single day. And then really, what does that even matter anyway, though?
Yeah, your toddler doesn't know what they missed out on. If you hit some key points and you only have one day, then they're going to be perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, the main thing that you're going for is just making some wonderful memories together. And that's probably going to happen at a pace if you're just willing to stop and smell the roses, if you will. Along those lines, one of the things that we've come to realize that children absolutely need is free play time. They need some time to not just be standing in line for rides and not just be standing in line for character meet and greets, but some time to just really let off some steam and run around and let their imaginations go wild. There are several free play spaces located in most of the parks. Magic Kingdom has a few. There's Tom Sawyer Island, which often gets overlooked. When we were a young couple, we had no interest in doing that, but now that we have kids, we realize that it's wonderful that they can just run around and do all kinds of stuff. There is a splash pad that's located over in the Storybook Circus area. There is a free play area located within the Dumbo queue line. In Epcot, there's a playground located behind the Creations shop as you head toward Test Track. And then in Mission Space, you can head into an area and there's some free play stuff there. There's some free play areas outside of the Figment ride and at the end exit queue there. At the exit queue of the Finding Nemo ride, there are some free play things. Probably the park that has the least number of free play areas is Hollywood Studios, and about the best thing they have to offer in Hollywood Studios as far as that goes is the Disney Junior Play and Dance Party, or whatever it's called. So make sure to fit that into your day a little bit. And even if you can't do a free play area, it might be good to just kind of find anything as close to an open space and let them run around in circles. And then in Animal Kingdom, there's Rafiki's Planet Watch, which is a petting zoo area, and that really satisfies the need of a free play area. Our little girl can do that forever and ever and ever. There is the Dino Dig area, but it's kind of up in the air what's going to happen with the Dino Zone, so we're hoping that they will incorporate some kind of a free play space in that when that particular area of Animal Kingdom changes in the future.
Now, one of the most important things about the playgrounds versus doing the actual things in the park is to have some balance, because what we have found from personal experience is that our 5-year-old, and even when she was younger, a lot of her meltdowns came from the fact that she wanted to stay at the play area the entire day. But we came to Disney World, so there are some other things that we're going to do. So something that helped us personally was to tell her, we have 15 minutes here at this free play area. So go have fun, go run around, go, have a good time, meet some friends. But in 15 minutes, we're going to move on to the next thing. We're going to go to a ride. We're going to go meet a princess, give them something to look forward to. But we have found that this has helped to minimize meltdowns for her, because she knows there's a certain time limit, and then we give her a countdown towards the end. We say, oh, you have 5 more minutes, you have 3 more minutes. And this helps her to get into the mind space of, oh, I have a few minutes to play, but then we're going to move on to the next thing. And this will help eliminate some meltdowns for you if you give them some balance and say, we're going to play here and then we're going to move on and do this.
And if you really think about it, though, as an adult, if somebody comes to you and says, hey, I want you to drop everything you're doing right now, we're going to go do this right now.
You're like, oh, I was having fun. I would be upset, and I'm an adult. Can you imagine a 5-year-old just plucking them out of a situation all of a sudden? No, we want to give them some respect as a person and give them a time limit, and that makes it so much easier to transition. One thing that we also have found helpful is to vary your experience throughout the day. It's no fun for young children and toddlers to stand in line for rides all day long, back to back to back. Even though the rides are fun, the lines are really going to wear on them throughout the day. So it might take some planning on your part, but sit down and figure out the things that you're going to do throughout the day. So stand in line for a ride, and then maybe go meet a princess or go get a snack, or maybe you can go eat lunch, and then plan to stand in line for another ride, and then go do a free play area. If you mix it up, then their attention span will last a little bit longer and they'll actually enjoy what you're doing.
And last but not least, our final tip is that we would encourage you to allow your children to help you plan the day. Let them be able to take a look at some of the things that they might be interested in doing and incorporating some of their desires into your day. Don't just be entirely selfish with all of your planning, or just assume that you know what they want to do, but perhaps ask them. And along that lines, one of the things that I think is also really important is allowing them to let you know when they don't want to do something as well. So in the early days when we first started going, like Haunted Mansion is something that we actually enjoy when we go to Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, we
That's
think
a lot
it's
of fun.
silly and-
Yeah, it's just kind of a, like, to me, it's kind of like a goofy sort of caricature of something scary. But we found that for our toddler, it was terrifying.
Yeah.
And so, and then she didn't really know that she was going to be terrified for it in advance. Then we did the Barnstormer, which is actually, she met the height requirement and was age appropriate for it, but it absolutely scared her. And so along those lines, now she's a little skeptical about getting on certain rides. One of the things that we did learn from some other friends who are Disney parents was that instead, as you select which rides you're going to do, show your children perhaps a video about the ride in advance and let them see what it's going to be so that they can decide if it's something that they actually want to do or not. And this is a good thing that you can actually do when you're in the queue line for one ride. You can show them what you think the next ride could be and let them tell you if it's something that they think they're interested in doing or not. And then just kind of accept their no if they say that's not something that they want to do.
It's going to be okay. We really hope these tips help you in minimizing meltdowns for your toddler at Disney. If you want some more tips from us, then click this playlist right here.